As I sit down to share these real-life stories from the subreddit Relationship Advice, I'm reminded that relationships are a complex dance of emotions, desires, and vulnerabilities. Today, we'll dive into the everyday struggles and triumphs of people, just like you, seeking guidance and understanding in the pursuit of love and connection. My husband, 35 male, is getting drinks with a coworker, and I, 34 female, am terrified. Posted on another sub, but I'd love to get more input on how to handle this. Mods, please feel free to remove if this isn't allowed. My husband's getting drinks with a coworker, and I am terrified. My husband, 35 male, and I, 34 female, have been together for 9 years, married for 5. He was showing me a video on his phone the other day, and a text came through from a female name I didn't recognize. I asked who it was, and he said she's a colleague from a company that his company works closely with. He has text previews turned off, so I couldn't actually see what was said, but my suspicions were raised. I know it's wrong, but when he was in the shower that evening, I looked through his phone to see who this girl is and why she's texting him. I found out that they've been getting coffee and lunch during the workday, sometimes to talk about work, sometimes not. Prior to last week, it was maybe once a month communications to plan these, but then she joined a board that has on last week. So they had a board meeting and then seemed to go out as a group for drinks after, until about 11. I did know that he was out with his colleagues during this time and wasn't concerned. What is concerning is that he texted her that night, making sure she got home safe and telling her how much fun he had, but that had been hoping to have more opportunities to talk with her instead of everyone else. The next morning, he texted her good morning and asking her to drinks one-on-one next week. She agreed, and he said he couldn't wait. Of course, I looked her up, and she's a very beautiful woman, probably in her mid-20s. I asked again later who she was and what their connection was. He reiterated that she's a colleague and is helping get him connected with exciting opportunities in her organization. I know has been really focused on networking, and she has a lot of high-up community connections that it looks like she's introduced him to. He's also a friendly guy who likes to be involved through board work and professional groups. I don't want to go scorched earth and accuse him of anything inappropriate, since my insecurity has been a major issue we have had to work through in the past, but I am terrified he's going to cheat on me. Would this send off alarm bells for you, and how would you respond without accusing him and ruining the marriage? Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Making an accusation when you have this much evidence is not scorched earth. It happens at some point even in healthy relationship. If you think he will make you pay for making a mistake, if it is indeed a mistake, that speaks to an imbalance of power in the relationship. Tell him you consider his relationship with this woman to be in danger of emotional cheating, and it needs to stop. Yes, emotional affairs turn in sexual ones when they start meeting by themselves. Seems like the start of an emotional affair. Good morning texts and wanting one-on-one drinks. I've worked in enough companies to see the beginning of an affair happening, if not already. Not only that, but to be somewhat secretive about it and not tell you what he's doing. Girl, don't fall for the nice guy act just 'cause he's your husband. Yes. Or the did you make it home safe spoke volumes. This is an emotional affair. At best, this is something that's building to something more. I would tell him you're not comfortable with the friendship and talk about appropriate boundaries. It's probably that, but also a slight chance is whining and dining her for business reasons. I wouldn't jump to conclusions unless, well, he should certainly be more open about it now that I think about it. If you're using creating a personal connection with a client to encourage business, the least you can do is be upfront and entirely open about it with your partner. And now for the next story. My husband, M36, smashes everything around him when he's angry. I, 35, think of leaving him. When I, F35, and my husband, M36, argue, I used to raise my voice, what triggers my husband. He always smashes things around him, often punches wall, throws phone, throws other items like chairs or coffee table. When he does it, I instantly stop arguing because of his anger. He never has hit me, but he has gently pushed me. He says that if I would not shout, he would not get this angry, but my shouting triggers him. I know I also need to work on that. I can't accept that behavior. I'm scared to argue 'cause it always ends up the same. He also calls me names like B or F. Off. He crosses all lines when we argue. Other than that, he is a caring and loving husband, but he turns opposite when we argue. I think of ending our marriage. We don't have kids, but I am afraid if we would, he would act this way. Do I exaggerate? Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Someday, it will be you. Leave. Your partner is abusive, OP. Has pushed you before, so he has laid hands on you. It will gradually get worse. Definitely don't have kids with this man and get out. Yep. Leave immediately. And now for the next story. Why doesn't my BFS friends like me? 19. I'm just overthinking. I'm not sure if I want advice here. I just want to vent. So, my BF has a larger friend group compared to me. He has female friends, which I never minded. The only thing that bothers me is when I try to follow his female friends on social media, or be involved. They kinda exclude or ignore me. I would comment on their posts, and they would just never reply, only like it. They wouldn't even follow me back. I think I only have one friend from his group who actually interacts with me. But whenever my BF posts me on his story or makes a post about me, they often comment saying OMG so cute and Shez so pretty. It makes me a bit upset because I really would like to be friends with them. It's not a major issue if they don't want to be friends, it's fine. I just feel a bit weird whenever my boyfriend mentions them and hangs out with them, or he replies to their posts and messages. I just wish I was a little more included, instead of my boyfriend being the messenger saying, they said you're so pretty, they love you, etc. And now for the next story. What does I feel my teen fighting? I'm 18 male and Shez, the same age as me. Last 3-4 weeks I was very intimate to her, but she's really moody at everything we do. She doesn't even know how to flirt. IDK what I did also the sexual libido is gone to her too, and now I'm starting to feel like it's gone to me too. I went to Japan just this week and bought her many stuff since Valentine's is coming, but why am I not feeling excited at all? And she told me if she want to have a date of course. I said yes. But why am I not excited at all? I really want to get back this feelings back and I know she's doing any efforts. And every time we call like, YTF is it boring? I don't even want to talk or anything. It feels like I am tired of at IDK but deep down I still love her. And now for the next story. My 18 male girlfriend, 19 female has been sleeping a lot during the day. What to do? My girlfriend has depression, anxiety, and ADHD, all diagnosed. She had a terrible depressive episode a few months ago, but since has gotten much better already with a therapist. Recently, her sleep schedule has flipped on its head and she now falls asleep around 10 am and awakes around 7-8 p.m. During this time she will ask me to come over even if she is asleep, but then I go over there and, well, she's obviously asleep. I've been doing that roughly every day, but it has been hindering what we're able to do and it determines whether or not we'll be able to do anything that day. Normally, I'm okay with this as I understand that my presence is very comforting to her. However, it's been every day and I am concerned. A lot of times, she will want me to lay in bed next to her while she sleeps, which is fine for the most part. Except I do have things I like to do while she sleeps, as I don't entirely wish to lay in bed every day for half a day being on my phone and cuddling her, only to go fall asleep myself at night. I try to wake her in an attempt to fix her schedule, but she becomes highly irritated and swears that me being there while she sleeps is good for her. I'd like to be able to spend time with her while she's awake, but 7-8 times out of 10 she's either already asleep or she falls asleep about a couple hours after being awake with me. I don't know how to help her as I've asked what I can do, but she doesn't know either. I don't want to say that I don't want to be in bed with her as much because she would likely feel very hurt and maybe even unwanted. As I said, she's incredibly anxious and is having a terrible time mentally. I also don't want to be an enabler, either, as she will never get better, but I also don't want her to think I'm pushing her away. I'm very lost. In no way is she negatively affecting my life as I'm able to still be very productive through this, although sometimes she is terrified that she is. I want to help her, but I don't know how. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Taking this down in roughly a few hours so she doesn't see this post. And now for the next story. 31 male husband overslept. My 29 female grandpa's funeral. My 29 female husband, 31 male, works night shift from 6 p. 6 8. He also works a lot of overtime due to the crew his foreman over being short-staffed. So I know he's tired. My grandfather passed away, and his funeral was today. I woke him up before I left with the kids to head to the services. We were driving separate in case he had to leave for work if things ran over on time, etc. Anyway, he fell back asleep, and I called him when I got there at 11:30 a.m. It's a 40-minute drive. He stated since the services were from noon to 3, he would plan to be there at 1 p.m. That way he could sleep a little longer, and asked me to call him around 12:15. I did. He never answered until 1 p.m. I told him he needed to be getting up, because it was already 1, and he told me he'd be there by now. He said he was getting up. Well, 3 p.m. comes around and we're getting in the cars to head to the burial site, and he isn't answering. He finally answers after I've tried calling him a few times, and I tell him he's missed the entire thing. I didn't get an apology or anything. He just said I guess I fell back asleep. Mind you, this was a very unexpected and terrible death of my 60-year-old grandfather. I spent the week before his passing in the hospital with my grandmother, while we were waiting on a prognosis of his condition. He got bacterial meningitis, and was on a vent, had 3 strokes from the brain swelling, etc. Should I say something to him about being upset he was not there for me on the day of his funeral? I don't want to cause an argument, but I know he will be defensive about it. I don't even know how to express that I didn't feel emotionally supported by him, without pointing fingers. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Quick question. Did both your grandpa and your dad have kids as teenagers? Otherwise, a 60-year-old grandpa is unlikely given your age. Here's the response from OP. He is my step-grandpa. They were over-the-road truck driver partners, and then fell in love. My Nana is 71, Lola Cougar, I guess. But my Nana had my mom very young, and was married by then. And my mom had me at 21. She was born in 1972. This makes more sense. Was a bit confused. Definitely think some clear conversation with your husband about his missing the funeral hurt you. A lot would be helpful. However, night shifts can be exhausting, and it is easy to fall back to sleep post-alarm when you're wrecked. Not that that's an excuse, but still. It can happen. His reaction and lack of apology would be more of a red flag. Though. Here's the response from OP. And they got married when I was like 8, I think. Honestly can't remember, but has the only living grandfather I had. Step or not, I've known him as my papa for 21 years. Like and subscribe for more awesome daily Reddit content. And don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I upload new videos.